There's lots of reasons we can find not to do something in life, and it's the same with racing on Zwift. I've had loads of comments on this channel, not powerful enough, too new, got no chance to win in a race, all of these things that seems to prevent people from just giving it a go. Or maybe you've been on Zwift for a while, even done some racing in the past, but over the summer you've let your fitness slip and now you've come back to indoor training in the winter. Your Zwift racing score doesn't even remotely reflect what you think your ability is. And of course you're nervous about getting smashed in every race. No one wants that. But here's why you should race anyway. Let me give you some personal experience about what happened to me. I signed up for Zwift in September 2024. The minute that I did start racing, that's when I started to see the improvements really coming in my cycling performance, my VO2 max, my stamina, my fitness, and actually, if I'm honest, my enjoyment of cycling indoors. But then over the past few months, I haven't done as much indoor cycling. I've done a little bit of outdoor cycling, but actually there's been holidays, there's been work trips, there's been some illness, there's been the odd injury, and as such I just haven't maintained that stamina and that fitness and that racing performance that I'd worked so hard to achieve over the winter last year. And of course I've put some weight on. So now when I look at my Zwift racing score, I'm thinking, that's too high. And I'm in the top category when I'm racing. So when I think about joining a race, in the back of my mind, I'm not even going to be competitive. And how much fun is that really going to be? So here I am, a year later, pretty much back where I started, and thinking, what do I do now? So to my mind, this is all about life. Life ebbs and flows, your weight goes up and down, your fitness comes and goes, your motivation comes and goes as well. And really it's about resetting. Or if you're just starting on Zwift, it's about getting going. And that's where I was a year ago, but here we are a year later, and now it's about resetting that baseline and creating realistic expectations. Therefore, I'm thinking about this as a fresh start. As you may know, Zwift doesn't allow you to enter into lower categories, even though you might think that's whereabouts you should be racing. So you have to join the races, perform to the best of your ability, and then let the Zwift racing score work it out for itself. And if you drop a category, that's fine, because that's whereabouts you should be. And then you can go back to the start again and start to work your way forwards, like I did last year. But what I do know is there's really no point trying to compare my statistics today to what they were 6 months ago, because they are not comparable in any way, shape or form. And all I'm going to end up being is disappointed. The other thing to think about, if you are a bit nervous or a bit worried, or you've never raced before, if you think you're too old or you're not fit enough, is that nobody else cares apart from you. Because it's virtual racing, you can have as little or as much interaction with the other racers as you want. So basically, you can just join the race, complete it, sign out, get on with your day. Nobody cares. You were another rider in that race, which if you're me, they probably beat. Everyone's focused on their own effort. And yes, of course, when you're racing, there's tactics in play, and you're looking at the other riders in the peloton, trying to get your position right, and so on and so forth. It's just about where you are in the pack. And that's what everybody's concentrating on. So if you get dropped, nobody's really looking behind them and going, oh, he's been dropped. Isn't that funny? Nobody cares. So it's all about racing your own race and doing it to the best of your ability. And even if you get dropped, finishing is still a win. And actually, if you get dropped and end up cycling on your own, there's even ways to turn that into a motivational race. And I did a video on that a couple of months ago, and I'll link it in the description below. But what I do know is every time I do get dropped is that I learn something. It might be about my climbing ability. I could already see there's some people who are going to be out climbing me on that little ramp. I think there's a few people just pushing a bit, but not really hard. Or it might be about concentration and staying with the pack when I think I'm easing off and then nobody else does. Oh, I'm losing them. It might be about looking at who's attacking and whereabouts I should be in my position. But there's always stuff to think about, and there's always ways that you can improve. So I think the key to this is to take all of those excuses that are whizzing round in your head, and they're certainly whizzing round in my head, and kind of pack them up and put them away in a little corner of your brain and just say, not today, thank you. Because today what I'm going to do, I'm going to get on the Zwift Companion app, I'm going to go into events, I'm going to filter it by race events, and I'm going to pick one that I like the look of. And my advice is to try and pick one that's well attended. At the moment, there's the Zwift Unlocked series on, so there's races every hour of every day, and on top of that, most of them are really well attended. So you're just another rider in a pack of 20, 30, 40, 50 or more riders, and you're contributing towards that race experience for everybody else, because races are always better when they're well attended. And just remember, we all have to start or restart somewhere. You look at some of the most famous athletes in the world that have ever existed. They are never consistent all of the time. Take Emma Raducanu, for example, US Open in her rookie year, if you like, and then has struggled with fitness and injury over the next 2 or 3 years. But she's stuck at it, and this season has been her best one since, and she's still improving. So whether you're a professional athlete, an amateur athlete, or just a casual Zwifter, we all go through exactly the same thing. And it's all about trying to motivate yourself to pull on that lycra and walk the 50 yards to whereabouts your Zwift setup is and get yourself racing. But what are the benefits to racing anyway? Well, racing for a start gives you variety in your indoor training. So I'm not suggesting for a moment that you should be racing every day, but maybe it's once a week. Maybe you join the Zwift Insider Tiny races on a Saturday morning or a Saturday afternoon and you do just those ones. Or maybe you just follow the Zwift Unlocked Tour or the Z Racing series when that comes back on, and you do those once a week. But it breaks up the rest of that training and keeps it interesting. So you could plan your training out that I will do a workout on one day, I'll do a race on another day, I'll do a longer robo-pacer session to try and help with my zone 2 training on another day, I'll have a couple of rest days, and you know, every day then is a little bit different, and it just breaks that week up and gives you something else to focus on. The other things that I think about Zwift racing is there's no doubt in my mind that it has improved my stamina and my fitness and my performance levels. There's ebbs and flows in every race, and being able to attack and work on your 1 minute power, your 3 minute power, your 5 minute power, your 20 minute power overall for the duration of the race to make sure you stay with the peloton, and of course those sprint finishes whereabouts you're looking at your 1 second, 5 second, 10 second power. So it kind of focuses on all areas of your performance in just one race. And the great thing about it that I find is it doesn't feel as hard a work as maybe a workout does, because you're concentrating on all of the variables. So your mind is thinking about, well, where I am in the pack. It's thinking about, is somebody going off the front? Do I need to up my pace to keep with them? How is my drafting? Am I saving as much energy as I can do, which is an important part of racing? All of these things are going through your mind while you're doing the race. And what you're not focusing on, as much at least, is how much it hurts. So the racing for me has meant that I've been able to improve more rapidly because I've just felt more motivated to do it. The other things that you'll learn from joining a race on Zwift is how to maintain your performance under pressure. You'll learn how to position yourself in a pack, you'll learn about racing dynamics, you'll learn about Zwift Racing Score, you'll learn about Velo Scores. You could join a team, join a community, you could expand your virtual friends network. There's so many sort of little facets that come off joining your first race that leads to so much more in Zwift, which again makes the whole experience more inclusive, more enjoyable, you know, and you can be as social or as antisocial as you want to be, and there's nothing wrong with being antisocial, by the way. You know, you can just go on, do your thing and leave again. It's what it's designed for. But if you want it to have that community aspect, well then that's available to you as well. So some tips for first timers, or if you're coming back to it and you're thinking, oh, I don't really want to do a long race, like maybe in the Flamme Rouge racing tours or the Ecro tours, you know, these can be 40, 50, 60 kilometers long. is to join a shorter one. You can easily see what the race lengths and the elevations are in the Zwift companion app. So maybe join a shorter one to start with, limit your effort to a half hour, let's say. I am not consistently good at warming up properly. Sometimes I'll just do a robo pacer for 10 or 15 minutes, and that's probably not enough to get all of the different muscles working in my body. So warming up properly is important. I know that, you probably know that, and therefore we should probably do it. I know I should do it. And that Bradley Wiggins designed warm-up actually would have seemed to have stood me in quite good stead in last night's race. I'm not saying that you can't quit a race, but I don't think you should. Finishing brings its own reward anyway. It's the only way you can get genuine statistics, if you're motivated by them, to start to see improvements. So finishing a race is an achievement in itself. Whether you come first or last, you've still done the race and you finished it, and you should be proud of that. Unless you're an elite rider, A+, FTP in the 400s, it's not really about position, although it's lovely when you do get a podium. By the way, I've only had 2 of those in a year, so they're hardly frequent, but when you do get them, they're very nice. But for me, it's more about progress than finishing position. Have I improved week on week? And you will have some bad races. You will have some races that you join them and you feel fine, and then halfway through, the wheels come off and you blow up. Or you'll have other races, and I've had more of these, whereabouts I've started off, done my warm-up and thought, oh God, this feels tough. But then I've had a really good race. So, don't let those mental games, those little voices that go on in our head, don't let them mess with you. So lock away those excuses, embrace the challenge, and remember, no one cares where you finish. What matters is that you showed up, you gave it a go, and you're improving. So should you race on Zwift? Yes, absolutely, because you'll never know what you're capable of until you try. And if you want to know how to handle no man's land, where you've been dropped but the group behind you is still quite a way behind you, so you are now cycling on your own, maybe this video will help.